In this episode of The Happy Hustle, we have on Mr. Quentin Havner, and he is the founder of the Black Belt Husband, which is a system that helps husbands basically transform your marriage. And we went through this program at large on the episode, and it was powerful. Let's dive in to this episode of The Happy Hustle. Want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. All right, my man, Mr. Quentin Havner, welcome to the Happy Hustle podcast. I am super stoked to rock the mic with you.
Yeah, Kerry, super excited to be here, man. Let's dive in and let's talk about all things that matter to guys.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, you are a licensed marriage and family therapist. You're a peak performance coach who helps high performing entrepreneurs, business leaders, and creators achieve success in every area of life. And you've been doing this for over 2 decades. But specifically, you have a system called the Black Belt Husband that I am very excited to dive into. But before we get into all that good stuff, Quentin, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
Not too many people know. I completed an Ironman race in 2012. And in 2013, I had my first son, and I've never been on a bicycle ever since.
There you go. Right on.
Kids have a way of changing things.
Dude,
Yeah.
don't I know it? I got a little 2-year-old son, and then I got a little baby girl cooking in the oven right now. My wife's preggers, so due in February.
Dude, that's so awesome. Congrats, man.
Yeah, but I do want to get an Ironman done. I feel like it's just like, you got to experience it once kind of thing. So good for you, and kudos for that.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to have on the resume. You know what I mean? People think it's cool. You could talk about it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, man. You had to earn that. That's no joke. Just like you had to earn this black belt. And I want to talk about that because, the black belt husband, for anyone into martial arts, just has an allure. Tell us the genesis behind the black belt husband.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So when I first became a therapist, I was working a lot with men with kind of like relationship challenges. And something that I noticed early on in my industry was that all the marriage help that was available was really written by women for women. And I remember sitting through, and I've told this story a couple times out there on the internet. So if you've heard it, please forgive me. But I just remember sitting through these like trainings that I would go to on like couples theory and relationship dynamics and all this stuff. And I would sit through it. I'd be like, there's no way any of my guy friends would buy into any of this shit. And it was very soft and like overly feminine. And then I thought, like, I'm like, man, where's the resource for guys? Where's the thing that the typical guy who, likes to watch football on Sunday would be into, right? And right. So at that time, I was doing jujitsu, and I kept having these like little revelations about the parallels between jujitsu and marriage, just all the little life lessons that you learn, and and I was like, okay, well. And I started kind of just jotting down some ideas, and then this idea kind of spawned in my mind about like, okay, well, what would it mean to be like a black belt? I know what it means to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but like, what would it mean to be a black belt as a husband? Like this idea of like developing mastery as a husband, and then thinking about it in like the belt ranks. Like, what does a white belt husband look like, and what does a blue belt husband look like? And so, I spent a couple years kind of putting the book together, and then I launched the book in 2018. And I mean, I think since then, I think we've taken over 20,000 guys through our system. And,
wow.
And it's been, yeah, dude, it's been super successful, way more successful than I ever thought it would be. So it feels very much like a God thing and very much like a blessing.
Yeah, I mean that is awesome. 20,000 people through the system is not a small number. I mean, you're changing lives, man, and transforming marriages. And I know you have a proven framework to do so. And I'd love to just dive right into the framework and really break it down for the happy hustlers out there. And
Hmm.
specifically, if you're a female out there listening, this is great insight for you too, because you can share this with your partner or future partner. But for the men out there, the fellas, really tap in because Quentin knows his stuff. So let's dive into the framework, if I may. Start with number one, that first pillar.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. And I just want to maybe piggyback on what you just said about the females too, because a lot of like females listening, um, a lot of times it gives them a picture of a standard that they would
Mm,
also want to aspire to inside their relationship, and not to beat your husband up if he's not meeting the standard, but as a way to encourage him, and to promote
mm,
him and to be a cheerleader for him to kind of meet the standard. So, the idea of like this system, we feel like it's a proven system that works really well. And it's like it's a standard that if you just follow the system, it's almost like you just can't fail. So the black belt husband system is broken up into five, we call them five pillars. Okay. And so pillar number one inside the system, the way that we like to say it is that, and we're speaking to husbands, you are the leader who sets the tone and the temperature for the relationship. You are the leader who sets the tone and the temperature for the relationship. So what that means is empowering husbands to realize that everything they do is going to either make or break the relationship. And it's this like, um, this radical level of, it's kind of like Jocko Willenick, like extreme ownership concept, and so we use a lot of business analogies because a lot of our clients are, business owners and entrepreneurs too. And they understand that principle in business so well. It's like, hey, if you're the CEO of the business, like the business is going to either thrive or die with you. And if the business dies, no
mm-hmm.
one's going to say, well, the bookkeeper or the accountant didn't do their job. Everyone's going to look at the CEO and say, you failed. And we apply that same principle to husbands and their role in marriage. And when husbands kind of can wrap their head around that idea, like everything changes.
Mm. Yeah, that's such a huge piece to the puzzle. And admittedly, that's something that I've struggled with my marriage. I've noticed on more than one occasions that she has felt like she has to parent me, which I know is one
Mm-hmm.
of the
Mm-hmm.
telltale signs
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah.
you're not being a leader. Just being full transparency here,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
because you know I was like, oh, I'm going through the checklist of your kind of, oh, if you're doing this, then it's probably you're not showing up. And it's just little stuff. It's like, oh, I'm the provider, the protector, the
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Now you can handle kind of the plans for this weekend, or oh man, if I left the room dirty or the dishes in the sink. It's like you really got to show up and take extreme ownership, like you said, in every capacity, because it's up to you, as the leader. So that was a revelation, and I love that first pillar. You are the leader of your marriage. What's number two?
Okay, so number two, the way that we talk about it in our system is that what we say is only fight with yourself, never fight with her. Okay, and so
Mm,
what we teach in our system is we teach guys how to look inward and understand themselves, their own feelings, their own thoughts, their own actions. Because what happens in most relationships is if my wife does something that I don't like, my tendency is to fight with her and to say, well, why did you do that? Or why did that happen? Or why didn't you do X, Y, and Z? And that's where most couples, like most, when I say most, I'm like talking about like 95%, they get stuck in this like
mm,
cycle of blame. It's like, well, if you would do
yeah.
this, I would do this. Okay. So what we teach guys is we teach them something radically different. So we say only fight with yourself, never with her. So what that means is if my wife does something that I don't like, my responsibility is to ask myself, well, why don't I like that? What is it about me that's
Mm,
even bothered by that? It's like, oh, my wife, didn't want to have sex with me last night, and I threw a temper tantrum.
Mm.
Well, there's a big fork in the road. I could get angry and upset and say, oh, well, you didn't have sex with me, and so I want to fight with you. Or I could go inward and I could say, why does that even matter? Why does that even
Mm.
matter? Like, what is it about me that's getting so triggered about that thing? And so it creates a very high level of insight and awareness. And this where this kind of dovetails into a lot of parts of our history, and and things that might have happened to us when we were young, that's going to create these triggers, and it's helping people really understand their triggers. And it's an awesome process because it eliminates fighting. And when you eliminate fighting, you create a lot of emotional safety. And then lo and behold, your wife does want to have sex with you, but she will not want to have sex with you if you throw a temper tantrum.
Yeah, exactly. As our mutual friend Keith Yackey says, don't be a pouty little bitch, right?
Exactly.
And
And you're not entitled to it. You're not entitled to it.
yeah, yeah, I love how he puts it so bluntly, but it
Yeah,
is true. It's like, well, maybe look in the mirror. Why does she not want to have sex with you, right? And
exactly.
I know, he has his system um, that I really appreciate, but it's an interesting way to put it. Like, only fight with yourself, never with your wife. I've never heard it phrased like that because, again, if you're following pillar number one and you're taking extreme ownership, now you need to understand, well, you're the cause and you're the solution, right? So you gotta,
Exactly.
there you go.
Exactly.
All right, number three, what is it?
Yeah. Okay. So number three in the system, the way we say it is be intolerant of bad behavior. So be
Mm,
intolerant of bad behavior. It's very direct. And what we're getting at here is we are addressing the plight of so many men who are in a relationship and they don't know how to advocate for themselves. They don't know how to set appropriate boundaries, appropriate limits. Um, I'll give you an example. I'm working with a client right now, and I'm trying to help him in his marriage. And he shares a story with me last week that his wife slapped him,
mm,
and they were in a fight, and his wife just whacked him. And I was like, "Well, what did you do?" And he's like, "I didn't do anything." I was like, "Well, dude, that's a problem. Like, your wife shouldn't be slapping you. And if you allow her to do that, then what you are doing is basically you are training her and teaching her that you don't respect yourself, and then she will not respect you." And so being intolerant of bad behavior, it falls under the premise that and by the way, it's not just with your wife. You're intolerant of your own bad behavior too. So I just want to make that really clear too. There's
right.
two kind of sides to this. Um, it's understanding that none of us are married to angels, and we're married to human beings that are flawed, and they're going to show up and they're going to do the wrong things sometimes. And we have to have some kind of a mechanism, some kind of a feedback loop, some kind of process to be able to address things that don't work.
Mm,
And I would say most guys do not know how to do that. And so what most
mm,
guys do is they tolerate a lot of bad behavior because they've been kind of indoctrinated or trained, by maybe their own family or the church, that, what it means to be a good husband is just to be kind of like, just let things go and let things slide. And if that really worked, I would be an advocate of it. But I know it doesn't work because what it does is it creates a ton of resentment.
right.
And then you have these guys that are, passive, and they're filled with resentment. And then that resentment comes out in all this passive aggressive behavior. And so the
Mm,
only way to solve that dilemma is to teach guys that um, they should have standards. They should have a certain standard, and they should uphold that standard inside their relationship. And that doesn't mean that they are, the authoritarians, or it's like, hey, well, my way goes. It just means that there's certain things that they're going to say, no, that really doesn't work for me. And so we teach them how to do that, how to overcome the fears that get in the way. Because for a lot of guys, setting boundaries, it's a very scary, emotionally charged process because they're conflict
mm,
avoidant. And so we help them kind of overcome those fears so they can do that in a healthy way.
Mm.
I know that was a long
Yeah, that
answer, but hopefully that's making sense.
no, it's a great answer. I mean, being intolerant of bad behavior, that resonates for sure, because I know that if you continue to accept this treatment, then that just becomes the new normal and there's no course correction. And so it really is, how do you set those healthy barriers in every area of your life, not just with your
Hmm.
relationship, but with
Right.
yourself, with your colleagues, with your business partner, like everyone. You should be intolerant of bad behavior across the board, right?
Right. Right.
So it's that's a big one. I love how you put it too. Let's talk about number 4.
Okay, so number 4 is a little bit similar to number 2, but it's importantly nuanced. So the way we say number 4 is we just say take full responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Mm,
Okay, so I mean, very basic. So the way that kind of shows up in real life is like helping guys understand that for every action, there's a reaction. So they might come to us, they might say, "Oh, well, like I wanted to do this thing, but my wife didn't want to do it, and this and that, and right." So then it's helping them see, okay, well, what do you think you could have done different to create the outcome that you really want? Okay, and so
mm,
what we're really passionate about is that all of us are totally empowered to create the marriage that we really want. And when we know how to take responsibility for our thinking, our feeling, and our actions, then we are going to be, well served to create that relationship. And a big part of this is just even step one is really taking full responsibility of your thoughts, right?
mm.
So this goes into a lot of gratitude principles, a lot of
Yeah.
appreciation principles, because in order for a relationship to thrive, we have to get out of that negative mindset where we're obsessively consumed and thinking about all the things that we don't like about our partner and all the ways that she's not the right one for us or whatever, right? So we go into gratitude principles, appreciation exercises, because when you take control of your thinking, then it impacts your feelings, and then it impacts the way that you show up in a behavioral standpoint. And so we're helping guys get out of that negative spin cycle in their brain, to see their relationship through a healthy and realistic perspective, and a less kind of doom and gloom perspective.
Yeah. Another one that, yeah, is pivotal in
Yeah.
this system, this process that you've created. I mean, being able to just, again, take full responsibility of yourself in every capacity, right? If you're, you know, if the numbers in your bank account don't reflect the reality that you desire, you got to take it responsibility, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
that's a trailing indicator of your past
Mm-hmm.
actions,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not getting your pee-pee touched,
Yeah.
that's a trailing indicator of your past
Yes.
actions, right?
Yes.
I
Right.
mean,
Right. Right.
if if you don't have a six pack, that's a trailing indicator that you've been maybe shoving crap down the pie hole.
Right, right.
So,
It's so true, and like a lot of guys, like just go back to sex for as an example, because a lot of guys,
yeah,
talk about that, and they want more of that in their relationship. And it's like, oh, my wife doesn't, she doesn't want to have sex, or I'm always asking her, and she says no. And it's kind of like, okay, well, what do you do to create an environment where she wants to have sex? Tell me about your journey, your thought process, your like, what is all the things that you do to create this moment? And they're like, most guys are like, well, I don't do anything. I just ask. And it's like, well, dude, that doesn't work.
yeah,
That doesn't work. And again, I'll use like business as an analogy, because a lot of these guys are business owners. I'll say,
yeah,
if your employee isn't performing in the way that you want them to perform, like you have to, what would you do? You would say, you would connect with them, right? You would say, hey, Johnny, like, how can I better support you? Or what do you need from me? Or it doesn't seem like you're happy. Do you like, what is it that you need? Do you need more money? Do you need more time off? Like, I want to make your life better because I know that if your life is better, you're going to show up happier and you're going to perform at a higher level. So I want to be a great leader and facilitate that process for you.
All right, my happy hustlers out there. Imagine a set of headphones that don't just play music, cancel noise, and take calls, but also optimize your brain and focus in the process. Well, that is what Neurable AI is all about. And these specific neurotech powered headphones, which track your brain waves in real time using these EEG sensors to help you improve focus, flow, and mental recovery. See, with Neurable's AI driven insights through their app platform, you can actually get personalized feedback on when you're in deep focus, when you're drifting off track, and when you need to take a brain break. That way you can lock in longer, work smarter, and reduce cognitive fatigue. And the best part is you get the hookup for being a part of the Happy Hustle Tribe. You can save $100 by going to neurable.com and using code HAPPY to save. I'll tell you what, they're made for high performers who are out there happy hustling a life that they love, both personally and professionally. And they fit with our brand mission, which is to avoid burnout and achieve that blissful balance. So I'm super stoked about this new tech that's out there and Neurable being a partner of ours. And I hope that you give them a go, especially if you're in the market for a new headphone. These are how you can ultimately increase your productivity and avoid burnout. If your brand doesn't look legit, people aren't going to treat it like it is. So whether you're building a biz from scratch or you're leveling up your current brand, 99 Designs by Vista is the ultimate creative platform for you to bring your vision to life. From logos design to app design to packaging to book covers, you name it, 99 Designs connects you with top freelance designers from around the world to create custom, memorable designs you love. We have personally at the Happy Hustle used them for book cover designs, logos, and now currently we're running a design contest for our swag shipping box. So that way, when you get a package from us, everything's branded and it looks super professional and on point. Now, you have two different ways that you can work with them. And basically, it's simple. You run a contest, let the global design community submit ideas, and then you pick the best one, or you work one-on-one with the designer who gets your vibe from start to finish. And because you're a part of the Happy Hustle Tribe, you get an exclusive $25 off your first design contest. All you gotta do is just go to 99designs.com/happy and then claim your discount and then watch your brand glow up, my friend. Do yourself a favor and just don't DIY your design. Let the pros at 99 Design by Vista help your brand thrive.
Guys know this so well in business, but when it comes to their marriage, it just like completely falls through the cracks.
Right. Yeah, it is. Again, it's looking in the mirror, gentlemen, and owning it, taking full responsibility. Love that one. Let's bring it home with number 5. What do you got?
Okay, number 5, and this is actually the most important one, and I put it as number 5 because I feel like it's the foundation that all the other ones sit on. And the way that we say it in Black Belt Husband is we say, fill your own cup so you can give it away. Okay. And this whole premise, this pillar, is about helping guys see that they cannot be successful husbands or really successful much of anything if they're operating from a deficit all the time. And this is especially relevant to entrepreneurs or kind of like high achieving, high performing people, because they are going, at a million miles an hour, and their batteries are drained. Their cup is drained. They show up at home and their battery's at like 2%. They don't really want to be there. They want to just zone out, stare at their phone, look at their TV. Their kids are pulling on their legs saying, hey, let's play. And so we love teaching guys how to restore their batteries, and even like why this is so important, and how that, when you fill up your own cup, because a lot of guys struggle with this as a concept because they feel like it's selfish. So if I go to jujitsu, 3 days a week during lunch, and my wife is at home with the kids or whatever, it's like I feel bad about that. I feel selfish because like here I am doing something that I really love and it's fun for me, and it's really not fair to her because she's at home with the kids. So a lot of guys have that resistance to taking care of themselves because they feel guilty. And that's a beautiful thing. And that really shows the heart of most guys, is that most guys want to be good guys. And
Yeah.
it's hard for them to give themselves permission to take care of themselves.
Mm.
But what I show them, and what I know that, you know too, Carrie, is that the more we get better at taking care of ourselves, the more we're going to be able to show up
Mm.
in the most meaningful and powerful way. So it's almost like counterintuitive. It's almost like
Right.
the more you neglect it, the worse you're going to give to the person that you love. The more you prioritize it, the better you're
Mm.
going to give to that person that you love. And when guys really understand that principle, and then also what their wives are usually saying too, their wives are like, no, go, go be with your friends, go do that thing. Like, because the wife knows that when you come home, you're just more pleasant, you're happy, it's like you're enjoyable to be around, you're happy, and all these things. And it's really just reframing this concept for guys about being like a sacrificial husband. And what it ends up
Mm.
turning into for most guys is that they end up becoming martyrs, and nobody wants to be married to a martyr.
Mm. Yeah, man. Totally agree. And, we talk a lot about that in our soul mapping system, as like, you got to fill your cup with passionate hobbies. We frame it as the one of the P's in soul mapping is like doing fun shit for yourself,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you're running around, you're giving to your team, you're giving to your clients, you're giving to your family, to your kids, to your spouse. But if you don't give to yourself and like put that meeting on the calendar and treat it with the utmost importance, just like you would any other thing that has to do with your business. Like, that's how I look at, fly fishing or going
Mm-hmm.
bow hunting or, you know, playing soccer with the guys or training martial arts or whatever it is. Even going to the hot springs here, I typically go every day. If I don't go, I get a little crabby,
Yeah.
so I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so I gotta, just echo that point to everybody out there. It is so, so, so imperative that you take care of yourself, fill your cup, and do the things that, bring you joy, so then you can share from your overflow. So love that, man. This was
Yeah.
awesome. I love that
Yeah.
system. Give us a recap if you can, 1 to 5, all the way through.
Okay, so number one is you are the leader who sets the tone and temperature for your relationship. Number two is only fight with yourself, never with her. Number three is be intolerant of bad behavior. Number four is take full responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, and actions. And then number five is fill your cup so you can give it away. So you
And
can
that
give it away.
that is the black belt husband system in a nutshell, to help you rebuild connection, trust, and harmony in your relationship. And yeah, I mean, where can people go to learn more about this, Quentin? If they're probably like, man, all right, this guy gets it. Where's the best place for people to check out?
Yeah, well, you could probably just, you go to blackbelthusband.com. There's a landing page there. It says more about it. You can find me on Instagram, Quentin_Hafner. I talk a lot about marriage stuff on there too. And yeah, I guess my calling, for anybody listening to this, that they feel like maybe this message is resonating, is, just helping guys understand that until okay, so until that guy is willing to take full ownership of the success of the relationship's going to die. And I kind of liken it
Mm.
to planting a tree in the backyard. A lot of guys, get married, throw the tree in the ground, and never look at it ever again. So we have to water the tree, we have to tend to the tree. And the payoff for the guy, because it might sound like, well, that sounds like a lot of work, I don't know if I want to do that, but the payoff is incredible. And the other thing that we teach in this system is that to have an epic marriage is not time consuming. You can have an epic marriage in less than 10 minutes a day.
Mm.
Okay. So a lot of guys that are like really busy, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't have time for date nights, and I don't have time to sit there and talk to her. It's like, cool. Cause I don't either. I got other stuff I want to do. But when you know how to get like super pointed and really targeted with what are the exact right things to do that are most meaningful, it's not time consuming. So that's awesome too.
Mm. Yeah, that's a paradigm shifter right there. I definitely think it's about being more intentional with the time together, not, um, you know, just winging it, right? This is powerful stuff, man. Definitely, we need to do a round two and go even deeper.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to ask this question before I let you go, and actually before we get into the rapid fire round, and then I'll let you go. But you've put 20,000 people through this system. There's got to
Mm-hmm.
be some commonalities that you see time and time again when it comes to like the biggest mistake men are
Mm.
making.
Yeah.
Break that down for us. If you see the key three, what are those? What are men doing consistently, time and time again, that are really holding people back from having, like you said, that epic marriage?
Okay. There's only one. That's good too. There's just one thing, and that is
Okay,
men.
that's even
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. So I could say, 95% of the guys that come through our program, they're only making one mistake. And the mistake is that they are so focused on being a financial provider at the expense of being a great emotional
Mm,
provider. And their marriage will
mm.
likely end if they don't understand and make that shift. So that's it. And helping guys see that, because, and I used to be that guy too. I used to think that if I, my wife's a stay-at-home mom, and if I made enough money for us to, support our life, then I was doing a good job. And well, that's half true, because you are doing a good job, but it's not enough to sustain the relationship. And there isn't somebody
Mm.
you like there. It's not like you can go out there and be like, okay, well, my wife's too demanding, I'm going to go find somebody. No, all women want the exact same thing. And so you might as well try to figure it out with the person that you're married to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I say this is, it's always that old adage, the grass is greener on the other side. And I'll just be honest, the grass is greener where you fucking water it, right?
Yeah, dude,
So
so
water
true.
your grass.
Yeah.
Don't worry about other people's grass, especially in this day and age of social media where like it's just everyone's highlight reels or made up BS that people showcase, which again, I don't claim to be the guru of shit, Quentin. I take the stance, I'm more the reporter. Here's some things that are working, here's some things that are failing, and take what works, leave what doesn't. That's my stance, and just this whole online game, because I think, a lot of people put themselves on a pedestal, or their business
Mm.
or their relationship, and then eventually the truth comes out, you get exposed. So I hope that is, just something where people can use more discernment nowadays, realize, like you said, no one is perfect, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to make the best with what you got. And when you do follow the black belt husband system and really start to take that full ownership and start to become the emotional provider, not just the financial provider, things shift. So this is profound stuff, man. Really appreciate you. If I may, let me put you through the rapid fire round, and
Okay,
then we'll
let's
we'll
do it.
wrap this interview up,
Let's go.
okay?
Let's do
So
it.
this is where I just like to ask random things, and then you answer honestly first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. Favorite food? Go.
Pizza. Pizza.
Favorite movie?
Braveheart.
Oh, great one. Favorite book?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, nice.
I
I
like
like it.
classic.
What's your spirit animal?
Grizzly bear.
Oh, right on. I see those out here. Um, Best business advice.
Pick one thing and just get the best at it.
Hmm. Happy hustle hack for your health. Something uniquely Quinton that you do to look like that at 50.
I just do a ton of body weight exercises.
Right on.
Yeah.
Happy hustle hack for your money. Something you do to save, spend, or invest wisely.
At this point, I'm learning how to be extremely generous and try to give more away.
Hmm. Love that. And happy hustle hack for your spirituality. Some way that you connect with the higher power.
I am a devout Christ follower, and that guides everything I do in my life. And so I am on a sanctification journey to become more like him. And that's kind of like that's my whole worldview.
Love it. Very cool. 3 things you're most grateful for today.
The trauma that I experienced as a little kid, going through a divorce in my late 20s, and being able to start my family in my mid 30s.
Right on. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on there, Quentin, what does that billboard read?
Right there behind me, it says "Go all in."
Love it. Crush that rapid fire round, Quentin.
Yeah, that's cool,
And man,
man.
brother, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, your black belt husband system with myself and the Happy Hustlers. Man, this has been amazing conversation, and looking forward to future collaborations and getting to know you deeper, man. So just thank you for your time
Thank you,
today.
Carrie. Likewise, too, man. Thank you so much for having me on, man. It was a fun conversation.
Heck yeah. And go ahead again and remind people the best place for them to connect with you online.
Yeah. So if you're interested in Black Belt Husband, you could go to blackbelthusband.com. If you want to see me personally and the work that I do personally, you could go to quentinhafner.com. And you can find me on Instagram, which is Quentin_Hafner.
Right on. Love it. We'll link those up in the show notes. Give us just a rallying cry. Maybe tie a bow on everything we talked about today for the Happy Hustlers out there.
Yeah. So the big, I think, kind of wrap up is if you're listening to this, specifically, we're talking about marriage. If I could get guys to understand that when they do this process, which is an ownership process for marriage, they're going to win everywhere else in their life in ways that they couldn't imagine. I've seen more businesses collapse because there is a marriage problem that is undealt with, because it's so time consuming and distracting and emotionally exhausting. So if you're the kind of guy that wants to win in business, you got to prioritize your marriage, even if you did it just for the sake of your business. It's just what smart people do. So, and there's just so much reward and fruit that you're going to bear in doing that anyway. So, yeah, just encourage everyone listening to this to understand that that's just such a game changing principle to prioritize this thing and watch it impact the other things.
Love that, man. Final question, Quentin, and I ask all my guests this. What does happy hustling mean to you?
Oh man. I love the name of the podcast. So, I'll just tell you a quick story that'll resonate with this. So I was working with a business coach a while back, and we were talking about goal setting. I told her that I wanted to try to make $1 million one year, and she said, "You know what? That's a kind of an okay goal. What if you made $1 million, but you were the happiest you've ever been during that year, also? Because that's a much harder goal and a much more meaningful goal." And it really kind of like that conversation just really struck me. And you know, I've never forgotten that conversation, because I think that's really that's the magic sauce of life, is to know how to merge those two components together. You know, how to be ambitious, how to be creative, how to be a conqueror, go out and build something epic. But how do you do that without losing your joy? That's something I love about Keith Yackey, because he's so joyful. It's like, how do you do that without losing your joy along the way? And so when I think about the name of the podcast, I just think about the merger of those two things, of like being super ambitious, but not at the expense of other things that are even more meaningful.
Heck yeah. Well said. Mic drop, y'all. Quentin Havner. Thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Freaking appreciate the heck out of you. I know you could be anywhere, but you're here with us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're out, y'all. Peace and love.